Hello, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Matt Seeger. I'm Dean of the College of Fine, Performing, and Communication Arts. To the families and friends who are joining us today, and most especially to the graduates of the James Pearson Duffy Department of Art and Art History, the Department of Communication, the Department of Music, and the Maggie Allisey Department of Theater and Dance, I offer my congratulations. Job well done. This is, of course, the most unusual of commencements. Circumstances preclude us from being physically together today, but we are certainly joined in a spirit of celebration. Now, for 10 years, I've had the honor of presenting the graduates of the College of Fine, Performing, and Communication Arts to President M. Roy Wilson so that he might confer their degrees. And for 10 years, I have called our graduates exceptional. By that I mean not ordinary, not typical, not usual, but extraordinary and unusually creative, capable, and committed. You've overcome a great deal to get to this place. In most cases, you haven't chosen the typical path. You've pursued your passions and your own personal creativity. You've seized on the opportunities that were presented to you, and you've used them to learn, grow, and expand your skills. You've worked hard to master your crafts as musicians, filmmakers, painters, designers, communicators, actors, and dancers. You've overcome adversity, and you've made it to this most important point in your lives. I join with your parents and partners and the faculty and staff who have supported you in saying how very proud I am of all you have done. You are exceptional. And of course, your journey is capped off by this most unusual of commencements. As President Wilson noted, this is a first in the history of Wayne State University. But your success is not diminished at all by the lack of a face-to-face commencement. If anything, this adds to the fact that you are exceptional. So congratulations again to all of our exceptional creative warriors. Thank you.
Hello, fellow graduates, family, and friends. Congratulations, we made it. I know these are unprecedented times, but I hope everyone is safe and healthy at home right now. Even though this isn't exactly how we picture graduation to go, we deserve this day to reflect on our sacrifices, our successes, and our accomplishments over the years. We've gained amazing friendships, acquired skills, and created relationships with talented professionals. But it wasn't until I sat down and started writing this speech did I truly realize the most important thing that we will all be taking away from our time here at Wayne State University: our voices. WSU helped each of us to find our own unique voice. Let me take you back to the beginning of my journey. When I was around 6 months old, my parents watched their friends with babies my age celebrate their first words, while they continued to wait for my babbling to turn into recognizable English. By age 2, I had been carted around to several doctors and speech therapists. Fear began to settle in as my parents were told I was missing brain connections and might never speak intelligibly. At 5 years old, it was discovered I was severely tongue-tied. After I endured a difficult surgery and years of speech therapy, I never seemed to stop talking, and I think I may still be making up for some lost time. Fast forward a few more years, and I started to dive into my passion for filmmaking and entertainment. However, a career in the arts was never talked about where I grew up. My mom's an accountant, my dad's an engineer, and being naturally proficient in math and science, it was expected I'd be one of those things too. However, I was never passionate about it, but I never used my voice to stand up and say, I don't want to do this, I want to pursue the arts. I just couldn't seem to find the words to voice my feelings at the time. Before I knew it, I was standing in front of a large Hogwarts-looking building, better known as Old Main, with an overstuffed backpack, a large Starbucks coffee in hand, and a nervous but excited grin on my face. I was starting college. Freshman year, I exercised my right to vote for the first time, made countless trips to the late night grill, and took many different classes trying to figure out a career path that would please everyone. Sophomore year rolled around, and I began to gain confidence in myself. Met some of my best friends that I will have for life, and officially changed my major to pursue the arts. Junior year went by in a flash. With juggling school, internships, and freelance jobs, I occasionally found time for a social life. And finally, senior year. Home stretch, right? I was filled with excitement to be graduated and headed into the real world. although at the same time extremely nervous to be graduated and headed into the real world. Graduation was right around the corner, and I felt like I was sprinting full speed straight towards a cliff. And I wasn't sure if I was ready to jump off of it. But a few weeks ago, I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and really thought about the most important things that I will be taking away from college. Pictures of moments started popping into my head, like the moment I first raised my hand to join a discussion in class, the moment I gave a persuasive speech about a topic I was passionate about, or the moment I stood up for myself and voiced what I wanted to do with my life. Those were the moments I found my voice. Many of you learned to communicate at a young age, and some, like me, later than most, but it was the peers we talked to, the clubs we joined, the professors we discussed with, and the obstacles we overcame that shaped how we see the world and how we share who we are in it. Every single one of us has a story, a message that is important for others to hear. Our voices carry that message. That voice can communicate the cure for cancer, start a movement, tell stories, create change. It was at Wayne State University where we developed our own voices. With those voices comes confidence and uniqueness. And I realize now that none of us have to be scared about that cliff we are about to jump off of. Because we are ready to jump, and we are going to fly. It's time to take off. Congratulations, class of 2020.
Dear class of 2020, this year's graduation is like none other in history. You are the forefront of a whole new world, a world that needs your creativity, grit, and innovative spirit now more than ever before. These are indeed difficult and challenging times. To face the changes that you'll surely encounter in the months and years to come, I urge you to rely on your creativity as well as the research skills that you learned here at Wayne. You've all learned to ask questions and seek inspiration from artists, designers, and writers who have worked under difficult circumstances throughout history. Look to people like Anne Frank, who spent 2 years in an attic trying to escape the Nazis. In 1944, she wrote, "It's utterly impossible for me to build my life on a foundation of chaos, suffering, and death. I see the world being slowly transformed into a wilderness. I hear the approaching thunder that one day will destroy us too. And yet, when I look up at the sky, I somehow feel that everything will change for the better, that this cruelty too shall end, that peace and tranquility will return once more." And look to Mona Hatoum, the artist who grew up in Lebanon with Palestinian parents and who lived in London after war broke out at home. Her short film, Measures of Distance, features letters written to her in London from her mother in Beirut. "My dear Mona, the love of my heart, how I miss you and long to hold you in my arms, even if only for 1 minute," her mother wrote. Later, she recalls how her family left Palestine. "Can you imagine us having to separate from all of our loved ones, leaving everything behind and starting again from scratch, our family scattered all over the world? Some of our relatives I never saw again to this day." Finally, I'm reminded of Cheryl Rowland, one of my former students, a Black man who was falsely convicted of a crime and spent a year in jail until the conviction was overturned. His life changed in an instant in the middle of graduate school. I've talked to Cheryl about how we survived, both while he was in jail and after he got out, and art was one of the things that got him through. My dear graduates, you are the leaders of your generation, and the world needs you. Keep making your work, keep speaking your minds, keep working to make the world a better place, and please keep in touch. Best of luck to all of you.
Hello, class of 2020. On behalf of the Department of Communications, faculty, staff, and advisors, I want to offer my heartfelt congratulations and best wishes as you enter into this new phase of your journey. During difficult times, it's easy to focus on what is lost or what has been taken away from us. And for some of you, those losses are profound, and for that you have my sympathies. But today, instead of focusing on what's been taken away, I'd like you to focus on what can't be taken away. First, no one can take away the knowledge, skills, and abilities you've acquired as a student in the Department of Communication. You're now public relations practitioners and journalists, filmmakers and documentarians. You're practicing in dispute resolution, working in social media, and being a communication specialist. And these skills are essential to help everyone navigate this crazy world that we have now entered into. Second, no one can take away the memories that you have built as a student at Wayne State University. You've been a dean's delegate. You've had internships. You have served the Detroit community. You've written stories and created films that have been viewed by thousands. And you have worked with some of the best researchers in our discipline. And these memories are what I hope you can hold on to even as we've transitioned to a whole new phase. And finally, no one can take away those new letters that get to appear after your name. The BA or MA in communication that you will now have received is something that you have earned every step of the way. So once again, congratulations on this wonderful accomplishment in your lives. I have been proud of what you've done in the past and look forward to what you do in the future. Thank you.
I am honored to have this opportunity to congratulate the class of 2020 on reaching a momentous milestone in their lives. And I'm happy to offer special words to this year's graduates in music. Music is a vocation, a calling, our purpose. The late blues icon Ray Charles said it this way: "I was born with music inside me. Music was one of my parts, like my ribs, my kidneys, my liver, my heart, like my blood. It was a force already within me when I arrived on the scene. It was a necessity for me, like food or water." Music is a necessity and a way to survive during the most difficult times. 20th century German philosopher Dietrich Bonhoeffer said it this way: "In times of care and sorrow, music will keep a fountain of joy alive in you." During this pandemic, music has given people a sense of belonging, counteracting feelings of isolation and separation. We have seen images of people playing instruments and singing from rooftops in Italy and from balconies in Spain. Music calms anxieties, providing a respite in the midst of uncertainty and fear. How fortunate you are to make music the center of your lives. I end with the words of the American songwriter James Taylor, and I quote, "I believe musicians have a duty, a responsibility to reach out, to share your love and pain with others," unquote. And I believe that as you take on these responsibilities as musicians, your lives will be purposeful and fountains of comfort and joy. Congratulations.
Hello, and congratulations on the completion of your journey at Wayne State. I hope you are all well, and certainly I miss seeing you and wish we could do this in a different manner. But this is an unprecedented time. But let's be clear, it's a time when you are needed perhaps more than any other. It is in times like this when the artist heals the soul, mends the morale of humanity. You have that ability. Many of you have been doing it, and you've been entertaining your friends, you've been entertaining your family, and you've been entertaining your followers. But the time is coming. The time is coming when the world is going to reopen, and you're going to have that opportunity to spring forth and let your voice be heard as you move through the world. And there will be a world for you, because always remember this: through plagues, through repressive governments, depressions, world wars, theater and dance and the arts have always survived. We find ways to continue to push forward, and we are embraced because of the joy we bring through our giving. My very best to you. I wish you well on your journey, and congratulations. Be well, be safe.